There we go. Hi, everyone. Welcome to today's workshop on time management and healthy living. Okay, so it's I think a big one that people don't obviously associate sort of as a main thing for towards health is time management, but it's a big thing that I actually use with my online clients because it's so important to try and use your time better and create more time. Therefore, you can be healthier, you can spend more time exercising, preparing food, and even just relaxing generally as well. So time management is a huge thing if you want to live a lot healthier. So my background is a personal trainer and wellness coach for over 21 years. I've helped an array of clientele. I was based at BBC Elstree Studios. Recently, I've worked in clients' houses, in and out of gyms, and so on. So I've sort of covered a lot of different areas of obviously coaching, nutrition, lifestyle, stress, sleep, and habits. And People all around the world now, especially with the way of the pandemic, I teach people. I've got clients I think in New York, which I'm a bit gutted. I'd love to be there as well, and other places. I think of someone else, Australia, and different things like that. So it does actually enable me to coach people from anywhere in the world because personal training to coaching is different. Personal training one to one, I think face to face is better, but when it comes to overall coaching, I think online is as good. Because obviously it's literally like a consultation sort of platform, which is I think has really helped people during these harder times. So first off, what is time management? So managing time effectively so that the right time is allocated to the right activity. So a lot of people, it can be different walks of life. Some people like to have full control of everything they do. So a lot of people spend a lot of time doing quite menial things. Would actually they could delegate that to someone potentially could do a better job at it, or it's a job they actually do. But sometimes people want so much control that they won't even delegate it and they'd rather do all of it. But the problem with that is it can reduce your time massively over the day and the week. So the importance of time management is effective planning. So this is the big thing. Depending on how busy people are, people if they're really busy, whether it's work or lifestyle things like bringing up children or both, it could be mixing business and bringing up children as well. It's to plan your week as well as you can. The main thing with this is it allows you to see what sort of time you could make up and what you do in your day and in your week that you could actually change or delegate. Therefore, you can create that window of time because the biggest roadblock I always get, not always, but for most people, they're going to put roadblocks in the way when they start wanting to be healthier. It will be because they just don't have time. So we know we have to go into there. I know they have time. We've just got to try and find where we can put that time and create that time if need be. So it's a big thing is to plan. It's a bit like a food diary. If you're struggling, because of workload and just sort of the life things and so on, just try and write down what you're going to be doing and what you generally do week by week. And you'd actually be surprised when you can see some of the time that you actually waste during your day and your week, which you could actually get rid of or delegate. So setting goals and objectives and setting deadlines as well. So especially for productivity as well. So productivity can actually improve your time management because obviously if you set loads of different work things to do at the same time. You never really get any of them done. Therefore, it will just drag into next week, into next month. And obviously, that list of things that you're going to have to do is just going to grow because you're never actually finalizing anything you do. So it's really key to set deadlines on things and actually prioritizing, which is a couple down, prioritizing the tasks. So what you want to do is actually try and list all the things that you do need to do and prioritize, put them in like a priority list. Obviously, the top being the most important thing to get done and work down that list. So rather than focusing on a number of different things at the same time, try and focus on one big thing and get that done. Set a deadline to get it done. And when you set deadlines as well, you tend to get that done as well because obviously if you don't set a deadline, it's just open ended. It's a bit like when I do sort of 12-week programs, when I do my online coaching, the main reason behind that, it does give someone a target date. Whereas if it's just ongoing forever, there's no real importance to sort of get these improve their health like in a sort of more speedy manner, and trying to get the health gains, and whether it's reducing weight or things like that. You by having a 12-week window, it gives you a focus of a set amount of time to get what you need to do to get it done. So whereas if that's open-ended and it could take you 5 years or whatever, then you can see it might just take longer to do what you could do within a 12-week period. So it's really important to try and set the deadline and prioritize the tasks. And what you'll find is when you start to master that, you'll be shocked at how much quicker you can get things done as well. And I do use it for my sort of business as well. So I do try and set things, just basic to-do lists, which I know people do have, but have them in priority order and just work through them. So rather than work on them all, work on the top one, get that done, then work on the next one, then get that done. So it's a good way of doing it. And especially with delegation as well, you might have these tasks as well. If there's anything within that list that you could actually delegate, which you don't really need to be doing, then do it. Don't just take everything on, especially if it's your business that you're doing it for, and especially if you're hiring people to do parts of what your tasks involve that you could easily just delegate to someone. You're actually paying to do that sort of thing. Don't try and take too much control, because the problem with that is you'll end up doing everything and you won't really sort of get as much done, and your productivity levels will actually drop. So spending the right time on the right activity. So going more that sort of blends in with prioritizing your tasks, to try and spend the right time doing what you need to do, and to be honest, what you're best at. So if most people think they've got some weaknesses here and there, especially when it comes to business or things that you do. If you feel that there's things that are not your your strengths, and there are other people that you can delegate these to and could do a better job, then do it. Okay, unfortunately, we all like to think that we were brilliant at everything, fantastic, but that's not always the case. So I know there's certain parts of my business that if I was a multi-millionaire and I was running a big, huge business, I would definitely delegate parts of my business to other people, because I feel there's people that are perhaps better at it than me, like more like on a sort of a planning for social media sort of thing. I've got people that I know that are way stronger than me than that I'd actually delegate and actually get them to specialise in it. They do a better job. Then the good thing with that is it takes all that stress away from doing social media, away from me, and I can actually focus on the things that I'm really good at and actually would benefit the business going forward, which is really important. So you can see it's just trying to juggle that and actually work out what your strengths are, what your weaknesses are. And if you've got people that can do those weak areas a lot better than you, then they're the bits that you delegate. So 9 reasons why time management is important. So time is limited. So like I said, if you look at through your day, so 7 to 8 hours a day, people should be getting 7 to 8 hours sleep a day. So we just take, for whatever reason, take 8 hours. So you've got 16 hours left, which is quite a significant period of time. But obviously, people are not going to work for 16 hours. A bit like anything, you do need that recovery time as well. So depending on what you do, you need to try and plan your day. And if you put those targets in and deadlines in within that day, delegating other things that you can do, and also as well, fitting time in, making it as important is your health as well. That is massively important, because people don't always think that. They think, well, it's time, I've not really got time to train or exercise. But you don't realize down the line, if you don't do that, if your health deteriorates, you won't be working. So you might be earning money because you're doing all the hours God sends, but you don't exercise. But actually, by being healthier and living better, and if anything as well, because you're healthier, you're more focused, you've got more energy, you are going to be more productive as well. So really look to fit exercise into your day as important as any other meeting that you've got in there. If you plan it through your days and through your weeks, and it's in the diary, and if you, for whatever reason, you have to move it, but you actually move it to another time in that day, don't just say, I can't do it, just cross it off. You move it. Okay, you've got to see it as something as that important. So number 2, accomplish more with less effort. So that's the idea. If you start to do all these things like delegation, setting deadlines and things like that, you'll be surprised at actually how much more you'll be getting done. And it will actually seem easier, because if you've diverted some of that stress to someone else or a group of other people, or if it's something in your diary that you don't even really need to do and you just don't do it, you're going to have more time. A lot of the other work's going to get done for you. So when you can concentrate what the bits you're good at, you haven't got anything distracting you, you're going to get more done in a shorter period of time. So I say that comes for number 3, so making better decisions. Number 4, be more successful. So like I said, if you're focusing on the things that you're strong at, which actually would help your work or your business or anything like that, you're going to be more successful because you're focusing on the bits that that you really excel at, which is really important. Number 5, so learn more. So a big thing that a lot of people don't, I know so many people don't, they leave school at 16, 18, or they go to university, and as soon as they leave, they don't really learn anything apart from occasionally obviously on the job because they sort of have to, but they don't learn anything. And it hasn't always got to be learn anything that you do, like whether it's just, you know, your job or your business. It could be something you just really like doing, a hobby or anything like that, you know, something that really interests you. It could be completely different from what you do in your work, and it's good to try and learn, even if it's just half an hour a day. You read about it, or do an online course. You just chip away at it through the year. And it's really good sometimes to take your mind away from what you spend so much time doing at work, because it actually clears your mind. And sometimes you do go back and you actually think more clearly, and you get through your work even quicker as well. And I've found that with exercise, sometimes you can feel like you hit a brick wall. You just go and do some exercise, and then because of the endorphins, you feel really good. And sometimes even during when you're training, you just think clearer, and actually you get over that problem. And then when you come back, you can just hit it head on, and you get your work done. So there's a lot of different things you can see how it's going to start to improve your health and your work-life balance. So reducing stress. So like I said, if you're delegating, you're focusing on the things that you're good at, you're strongest at, you've got more time, you can exercise, you can rest, you can recover. That's going to reduce your stress. And obviously, because you're focusing on the bits that you're good at, you're going to get a higher quality of work because you can spend that time on that area of your business. That is the reason you're probably doing the business you're in, because that is your strongest part. So it creates discipline. So that's because of the planning and obviously sticking to these things, and creates a positive cycle. So when you start to feel and see the benefits of doing this, you'll just want to do it more. You won't want to, you don't even need to be motivated to do it. It's the same as when I online coach with people, especially like initially, because if someone's been trying to lose weight for 10 years and they've never really done it, they can sometimes come in with a slightly sort of negative approach to sort of losing weight because of they've never really got to where they want to get. But I guarantee once sort of a week or two in and they start to feel and see the difference, once it starts to click, I guarantee that positive mindset, that's changed from the negative mindset, I'll almost not even need to motivate them, because they've created this positive cycle, and they'll want to continue because they won't want to go back. They'll see how good it is that they're doing. They'll feel so good. They'll start to look the way they want to look the first time in, say, like I said, 5 to 10 years. I almost don't need to focus on that. I actually can just focus on more of the coaching part. So it is trying to get people to a point with time management. Once you start to see that positive cycle change, you want to continue it and want to keep it going. And you might even tweak it even more. You might start to delegate even more. You might say, actually, look, I've delegated this. I've created more time. There are these other small bits that, you know, they're a bit menial. It's a waste of my time to do that. Let's delegate that. That's another stress taken away. And potentially, if you get it to the right people, that will be done even better than what you could do it as well. So 5 steps to effective time management. So number 1 is to plan. So like I said before, go and, because obviously most weeks are pretty similar. Obviously, it depends if you've got like different projects and different things on. So plan your week ahead. And try and sort of literally put all segments of whether it's a meeting you've got, what sort of the certain project you need to do, and you fit that into your diary. Then you might have a section where you're going to exercise as well, and obviously with your lunch, things like that. I know it sounds ridiculous, but actually plan that in, so therefore you don't miss it, because some people can miss lunch because, you know, because obviously a meeting crops up and suddenly they've got to do the meeting, and then they're going off to another meeting they had planned after, and then it's 4 or 5 o'clock, then it's too late. So use that as obviously number 2. So assess, organise. So number 3 will be where, and 4 will be where you start to change that diary slightly. So you might look at it and think it's not really working. Sometimes you might even change and move meetings to, you know, make it better. And as well, a big one I had a while back. I've been in workplaces before where people just have meetings, and I think it's because they liked having meetings, that nothing really happened from them. There was no like point to it, and by the end of it, there was no like to do thing. There wasn't like a thing that we've all agreed to get to, and we're going to now implement in a business. It was more just sort of a get together, and they used to do. I think it used to be about an hour and a half a week, and it was literally a waste of time. It's like they'd almost be better just to send it in an email what they were going to say in it, and then that was it. So sometimes with that, you can see it was a meeting which was sort of pointless, and it's an hour, hour and a half a week that just didn't need to be there. To schedule, so once you've organised and you prioritise what you want to do, then start to schedule it. So if your diary is different every week, then obviously you're going to need to plan and assess before the week. So don't do it during the week, plan it before. So the weekend before would be when I start to focus on that point, because then once you do that, you've planned the week ahead, you know you've got all your meetings in, phone calls you've got to make and so on, and you've got your exercise in there, you've got your lunch in there and things like that. You've got your whole day planned, and just stick to it. Things do come up and they do change that, but make sure you try and keep everything within that. But the big one is exercise. You really need to keep that in. And sometimes, well, with most of my clients, it's not just a matter of just doing a workout. People need to be active around that as well. So people need to get that active lifestyle around it, whether it's going for more walks and getting some more activity, getting their steps up for that day, through the week. And even that, you can actually, if you've already worked out, but you want to get a bit more active during that same day, you might, if it's, as long as it's not really important, that sort of call or meeting, you could actually tie in the walk with that call. You could go out for a walk and actually blend it in rather than just sitting down. You could just go out for a walk. And I've seen, especially during the pandemic, when everyone was going for walks, I see so many people doing it. And I think people still do it today because they've got into a good routine where they're going for a walk for an hour and they've actually had 2 or 3 great calls on the phone, and they've got an hour's worth of walking and activity in. So it actually sort of killed 2 birds with 1 stone. To the art of delegation. So many people struggle to let go of projects or workloads as they feel they are better off doing the work themselves. Unfortunately, this can lead to burnout and reduced productivity. So people really need to learn that art of delegation. Sometimes that can be different. If you're a business starting out, you might not have the financial clout to delegate work, so you've got to pay for it. So that can be, at the start of a business, can be quite tough because you have to do all of it, but in time you want to try and delegate that where you can. So we have to sit back and assess our current workload and decide which areas we can delegate in order to reduce our workload. Not only will this reduce the pressure put upon us, but it will also lead to more time available to relax and do other, sometimes more important things. Also, we have to realise sometimes other people can be more specialists in certain parts of our business, which then make it easier to hand over control. So I have met people before that sort of they love control and that they find it very hard to hand it over. So I do think it's trying to get to a point where you can let go, especially because it is your business, it's something you do, or it is sort of your job within a company that you do, obviously, because you are delegating, but it's still technically your project, which can be the hard thing because it will reflect upon you. But obviously, for you to grow and develop, you need to, at some point, to delegate. There are only a certain amount of hours in there, in your day and in your week, so you do need to learn about what things that you can delegate and move away from your workload. So there we go. That's everything on there. Any questions?
Thank you, Colin.
That's okay.
It is very great. I have not too much questions.